Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
I'm pretty sure it's JD, but I stuffed myself so full of Thanksgiving dinner that I'm not entirely certain who I am anymore.
Oh, God, if our identities are based around whether or not we overeat, there is no hope for
What are
me
you
in the
talking
future.
about, Michelle? I mean, not for you, but my identity is clearly defined by how much I overeat.
Yeah, I guess every time you do
in
have a snack,
in a
what's your
lot
snack
of
today? Do you have
ways.
a snack?
In
Do you have a
like
snack while
both
we're recording?
physically and psychologically.
Are you just eating a bucket of blue cheese right now?
No, it's cranberry cheese from the snack tray. It's really yummy, but it's got cranberries in it.
Oh, man, you always have snacks. It makes me jealous.
I feel like
Well,
eventually somebody's gonna be like, "Could you tell that fucking guy to stop eating on the podcast?" Because I know that
no.
sound irritates some people, and it just now occurs to me.
Well,
But
you mute when you do it,
yeah, I'm
so
gonna
you're
turn
at
this
least
microphone off.
respectful.
Michelle, take a moment to tell these people what we're talking about today on account of how this was kind of your idea. This was your
Yeah.
brainchild, and I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Okay. So, full disclosure, I really just needed a way to weasel StarKid in. Today we are talking about a horror comedy musical stage production called Black Friday, created by StarKid Productions. And I have a whole history and everything that we can get into in a little bit. I am a fangirl. We will talk about it. But yeah, we decided to do something outside the realm of our normal stuff because I really just
Yeah,
needed to talk about StarKid. I love it.
yeah, and we're stretching our legs here, trying to evolve the show, do things in that horror adjacent world we often talk about. I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm 100% certain that Michelle and I had the conversation at some point in the past about what this was, but I am also 100% certain that I completely forgot that conversation because when I fired this up on YouTube, my first reaction was 2 hours and 17 minutes. Michelle, what did you do to me? And then within moments, I realized that it was a filmed version of a live stage performance. And not only that, it was musical theater, and no longer did 2 hours and 17 minutes bother me. And then we were off to the races. Michelle, you want to hit us with some spoiler-free thoughts on this, since you're the one who brought it to our attention, and then we'll save my potential surprises for the second?
Absolutely. Um, I am going to rate just this one because all of StarKid I would just give 5 stars. I am a huge fangirl. This one is not my favorite of their musicals, but it did fit into the lineup, so I got to weasel it in. I consider The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals one of my favorite horror things,
And
art
that's another one of
forms.
their shows, to be clear,
Yep,
right?
yep, that is their first horror comedy
Say that
musical.
name again.
The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
That's the
And it
one.
is a guy who doesn't like musicals, and now he's suddenly in a musical because there are aliens taking over the world, and it's very meta. So people comment because now when people are breaking out in song, it's because they've been infected. And I consider it one of my favorite, we'll say, horror movies, horror adjacent movies.
Sure, sure.
Um, I love it. So compared to that one, this one is not on the level, but I still really enjoy it. I think doing horror comedy musicals is so unique that you get a little bit of a pass, even when it doesn't totally work for me. I'm just gonna go with a 4, a solid 4 for Black
Four
Friday.
skulls for Black
Mm-hmm.
Friday. StarKid Productions. Michelle,
Yeah.
would you like to predict perhaps what my reaction to this thing was?
I think you would have been surprised and at least somewhat liked it. I don't know to what degree.
No, this is pretty rad. It's,
Awesome.
I am a I don't know if we've talked about it much before, but I am an unashamed musical theater nerd. As with anything that I like, I am so particular about what I do and don't like. Um, for example, I like shows with a little bit more book. Like sung through shows are not typically my favorite sort of thing. That's a whole thing that some of you don't even know what I just said. It's cool. I get it. Musical theater is not necessarily everybody's bag. But no, I was really impressed with this. Not just with the quality, because they did this whole thing from start to finish, right? Like they wrote, like some people on their team wrote it, wrote the music for it, directed it, they performed in it. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
That is correct. And I have history with all those people that we will get to. I have intense notes.
Yeah, so it's like this entire thing from the ground up was built in house with this StarKid Productions, and it was really impressive. And not just as a small theater stage performance, but they clearly put some time and effort and planning into how they were going to shoot this because they do some really fun and interesting things that add a real dynamic feel to this. Like, it absolutely in no way was just like a camera pointed at the stage and watching it happen. They put some time and work into this, and this was really solid. I'm actually also coming in at 4 skulls on this one. Strangely enough, Michelle, I don't know what's
Awesome.
going on, but we have to stop. We
Oh,
need more things that we disagree on.
I know. After doing this so long, like, I guess you didn't fucking love Saw like I did. So does that count?
That's fair. Yeah. But also, to be fair, my only real problem with Saw, not to diverge into that again, is there's just so goddamn much of it that it becomes absurd.
Oh, I
But
love when it reaches
there
absurdity.
was there was one flash where I was kind of doing a little research about this, and while it was playing, and I got the mistaken impression that this was a sequel, and I was just mad. I was just mad. I sent Michelle a message immediately. I'm like, Michelle, this is a sequel, and then she schooled me on how dumb I am.
Oh, yeah. We can start there. We're going to get into the spoiler section.
Yeah,
I got to
spoiler
talk about
section,
it.
guys. We're gonna tear. Seriously. Like again, I know for some of you, musical theater is not something for every horror fan. But if it is something that you can get into, even if you're not necessarily a fan of musical theater, but you're not opposed to it. There's some really well done live horror here. There's some hilarious comedy here. Give it a shot, and then come back and listen to us tell you everything that happened.
Absolutely. And you can find it. It's just on YouTube. Look up
Yeah,
Black Friday Star Kid. It's very popular. You will find it. It's got
you'll
3.2
you'll you'll.
million
It's
views.
the
It's not
two
hidden.
hours and 17 minutes version.
Yes, you will find it. Okay, spoiler section. Do I start with the history of Star Kid or do I
Oh no,
start
you
with
do
the
the you
horror
do the
comedy
summer you
musical?
do the summary of the plot like you
Oh,
always do,
yeah.
Michelle.
I forgot. I got so excited about just Star Kid in general. I'm not remembering the format. Okay. As always, I will do a summary of the plot. And as always, I forgot I was going to do this, so we're just going to wing it. Unfortunately, this is not on IMDb, so I don't have a cast list in front of me. Never mind, I had the Wikipedia page pulled up. Okay, so Tom Houston, aka Dylan Saunders, aka Dumbledore from their Harry Potter musical. Tom Houston is gonna go find a evil Furby, we'll call it. His name's Wiggly, and he's the toy of the season. He gets to the mall, and there's a bunch of other people, and they're like, "No, we want the Wiggly," and he's like, "No, I want the Wiggly." So then people just start brutalizing each other, and that's pretty cool. Cool. I went great and cool. I pulled a Mean Girls. So. they just start brutalizing each other. But then Hannah, she's like, nope, I got powers, you guys. And the powers say this thing's bad. And then the colonel shows up and he's like, we got to go to the black and white. And he sends a guy to the black and white. And then there's like an evil devil man there. And the evil devil man's like, we're going to birth a god. And then they stop the birthing of the god because they burn the doll. And then they're like, man, this was kind of sad. What if tomorrow never comes? And then there's a whoosh and it's the end. That's the whole
Yeah,
musical.
that's a pretty solid summation of the plot
Thank you. I
of
panicked.
Black Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like these people, like the world is, it's Tickle Me Elmo is sort of that craze that it's sending up here, and just Black Friday insanity in general. I do want to hit on the Wiggly. Michelle, how did you describe Wiggly in your little summary there? Do you remember what you
Evil
said
Furby,
specifically?
I believe.
Evil Furby. I'm gonna do you one better. For those of you who might be a little bit older, '80s kids, Wiggly is like, what if Cthulhu was a My Pet Monster? Like it's like a bright green tentacle faced stuffy thing, but very reminiscent of My Pet Monster. Michelle, if you don't know My Pet Monster, Google it. You'll understand what I'm saying. But no, I just I love that. Like the doll exerts this influence over these people, and we ultimately realize at the end of the movie that the kids don't even want this fucking thing, right? And it's this actual, it's like a god from another dimension.
I knew you would
This
love the
got
Lovecraftian part of this.
Oh
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
you were
This
going to be
is
hooked
this
by
is
that.
this straight up Lovecraft vibe here. I liked that. It's the silliness, just a real fun combination of elements. Why don't you tell us a little bit about? Because I'm not even 100% sure how to talk about this.
Mhm.
In sort of our typical context. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the background of this and these folks?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, StarKid. I'm going to tell you how I found StarKid first because I think it's a funny story. Um Back in whatever year, Daniel Radcliffe,
Oh
the guy
God, here we go.
Daniel Radcliffe was in a play with a horse where he got naked. And I went, I got to see those pictures. So I Googled Daniel Radcliffe naked horse and I found a forum.
Oh my God,
Yep. I found
that's
a forum.
dangerous.
I did find the picture eventually. It was
Okay,
fun. It was a good time. But I found a forum that was a gay man forum, and they were all talking about
surprise.
how hot Daniel Radcliffe is. But then there was an argument in the comments because they said that he was not the sexiest Harry Potter. That the sexiest Harry Potter was this guy from a Harry Potter musical, and that guy is Darren Chris. So then I went, what are they talking about? And I started playing the YouTube video, and I have been absolutely hooked on these people ever since. They became very, very well known. It was a bunch of people from the University of Michigan who put on their very first musical called A Harry Potter Musical, which is obviously a fan homage before J.K. Rowling was problematic. And it is hilarious. And if you enjoy the Harry Potter universe, it's just made for us, for weird nerds. The recording is not great because they just planned on doing this so that their families could see, and then it blew up and it became a huge thing. So they made their initial stuff by doing that. But then they started branching out. And the second one that I saw from them was Me and My Dick, which is a coming of age story about teenagers who are going through puberty. And in this play, all of their genitals are attached to them by a rope. So this guy, played by Joey Richter, he has a dick with him, and it's a guy with like a little pink beanie, wearing all pink, and he's like talking to other genitals, and it's so fucking weird, and I love it. And then they also did Starship, which was like Starship Troopers, but
Michelle,
yeah, yes,
I don't want to. I mean, I have to interrupt because I have to
yeah,
ask you.
uh-huh.
Is this episode about Black Friday just gonna turn into you rattling down every show these guys have done?
Yes.
Oh my god,
But they
Michelle,
haven't done very many. I'm going quickly. I'm
they've
going
done
quickly.
they've done like
I'd be done.
20.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
No, I've got the list in front of me. The ones that matter. So Starship, which is Starship Troopers, but then they also did Musical Batman, which is Batman but a musical. They did Twisted, and this is why I have to go through the list because Twisted is the story of Aladdin, but if it was wicked. So it's told from the story or from the side of Jafar and how he was mistaken, and that is exactly your shit, and you have to check it out. And then they also did the trailer organ, blah, 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 Firebringer, whatever. But then eventually they came out and they're like, hey guys, you know what the world needs? Horror comedy musical stage productions.
I want
And
to
they
point
put
out
out,
there's 16 titles on this list.
but I think some of those are like the live show, like a Harry Potter senior year, which I don't think counts. Anyway, the guy who didn't like musicals came out and it changed my fucking life. I listen to that soundtrack at least once a week. I am so addicted to it. I have enjoyed, to at least some extent, everything that these people have done. Um, and then here's where I can talk about how this is not a sequel. I think that would be a good part to get to in my notes. So JD messaged me and he said
No,
this is a
I
sequel.
understand. No, but I understand how it's not a sequel. It's because it
But
happens in
our
an
audience
alternate
doesn't.
universe.
Our audience doesn't. So I have to tell them about it.
I
So
just
if you
did.
happen to look, you
It
happen to
happens in an
look,
alternate universe where the other one
kind
never
of,
happened.
kind of. I guess that would be a good way of putting it because some of these people are dead in the first musical that they did. But here's a complaint I have. Now they've during COVID they did a bunch of things called Nightmare Time, which was Zoom recorded musicals that became very fanciful and great. And they were also done in this universe with the characters from this universe. So they have gone all in and now there's just this whole Hatchetfield thing, Hatchetfield, wherever.
Yeah,
Um
Hatchetfield.
Hatchetfield.
Like
Um
Haddonfield, but with a hatchet.
Yes, Hatchetfield. And with their most recent musical, Nerdy Prudes Must Die, which is a high school horror comedy musical, the audience just cheers when people come on stage, and that's annoying. And I wish that they would edit it out because then I have somebody like JD where I'm like, hey, check out one of the musicals, and then they're just cheering randomly, and you feel like you're
I'm
missing
not gonna
something.
lie, there was a decent amount of that experience here watching this one. Not
Hmm.
to the extent that it got annoying. What it did is it made it clear to me that these are people that I should have known for some reason coming into this, yet I had no idea why. Like it definitely gave that impression that there was like it's
You were
kind
left
of like
out of
FOMO, right?
something.
Like
Yeah.
there's an inside thing happening there that I don't know because I haven't seen anything else they've ever done. And that is always a little off-putting, but it's certainly not their fault.
I mean, I am very into StarKid. I've been watching their stuff for, I don't know, like 13 years. It's been a very long time, and I've seen all their stuff come out and have loved it. And I miss references because I haven't seen like all of Nightmare Time, which was the Zoom production. I basically watched what they put on YouTube. So even I'm missing out on things and getting some FOMO. So I think it would be a little bit better if in the future they just kind of like edited that a little bit because if somebody's watching at home, they can go, ha, I know that person to themselves without feeling the FOMO. And it makes it a little more accessible for when I'm trying to get my friends to watch particular things. But
Sure.
yeah, horror comedy musical stage productions. This is a thing that I didn't know I needed until I saw the guy who didn't like musicals. And then Black Friday, which was also great. And then Nerdy Prudes Must Die, which is fine.
Yeah, this was a real good time. I enjoyed it. I thought some of the music was especially catchy. Obviously, I've only seen it the one time, so I would have to go back and get some of it, kind of more familiarized. But I think the thing that I really appreciate about it is this was like Kickstarter funded, right? And if
Yep.
the thing I read is correct, when they started up the Kickstarter, they were asking for like $150,000,
Yep.
and they ended up raising like over $500,000.
Yep.
And you can see all of that on the screen here. Like there are props and things like this wiggly thing. Apparently they actually made a bunch of these and sold them through their website for, you guessed it, $49.95.
I did not get one. I'm still
Completely
sad about
sold
it.
out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I would imagine within days. But that was really cool. I love how they use their sound design to rather than have some like there are certain things that I think other productions would have even just like a minimalist physical prop to work things. But like when they're opening and closing car doors or opening the trunk, like there's not even a fake car trunk there. They're literally just miming into the air, and the sound design is excellently done. I love when they go into the black and white and Wiggly appears, because like the hint of him is there the whole time with the Christmas garland over the rail, right? And then the color shifts and those two spotlights come in, and it's just really, really, really well done. And also, I don't know, like they very clearly did not just planned this show, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were planning the camera blocking all the way through the entire development of the production, because this is so, like, the way it's shot, they clearly knew exactly where people were going to be. They were prepared, right? And that is impressive to me, it just on a number of levels. I thought the way they handled obviously is a stage play, right? So nobody's actually getting beat up. The violence is pretty like it's what it can be, but they do some really interesting things with really basic level special effects that prove that those kind of things are still plenty effective if you use them correctly. The one thing I really gotta know is, like, at the end when the possessed rich lady gets shot in the head. Yeah, when she gets shot in the head and they got like the blood spatter behind her and the bullet wound appears on her forehead, like that bullet wound has to be like a digital after effect, right? Because there were a couple of those here, like when they go in and out of the portal, there's that weird lightning flash that clearly was added after, like, or I mean, I would assume. I don't know how that would have, but that part, like with the thing appearing on her forehead, but that blood splatter behind her, like I saw it fall onto the floor of the stage behind her, right? And just like, I was really impressed by that for something that is ostensibly like a very independent theater production. So you can see that they took that money from the faith that all of these Kickstarter backers had in them, and turned around and put it back into like a full-blown production here. And it was definitely good enough that I do want to go back and watch the guy who doesn't like musicals, or whatever the heck it's called.
That is it. I wanted to see if you'd say it, or what you would.
Yeah. Is it the guy who didn't like musicals, or the man who didn't like musicals?
The guy who didn't like musicals. You'll figure it out. There's a very catchy theme song called "The Guy Who Didn't
Does
Like
it
Musicals."
go, "The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals"?
You were very close. Yeah, you were very, very close. God, it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite stage productions of anything ever.
For sure, and of course has some. Definitely, they had some things that they wanted to say, and I think they managed to say them pretty clearly without being too super preachy or anything. Also, I just happen to agree with a lot of the things they were trying to say here, so maybe I'm just a little bit more forgiving of them, but I didn't find it obtrusive in any way. I did some really solid acting here. And some real genuine drama, like the whole subplot of the mother dying in a car accident that he caused, and then the turnaround when Becky Barnes just flat out just confesses in the middle of the show to murdering the she doesn't know if he died, but he never came back from out of the woods, so yeah, he probably fucking died. Like that kind of came out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh shit, this is getting heavy. But yeah, I just I really enjoyed this. I really appreciate what they tried to do. I think they made really effective use of what they had available to him, and I think most importantly, while it might not be like my favorite, most blowaway musical I've ever seen, it was good enough to keep me locked in so that the limitations of what it didn't bother me. You know, like none of it took me out of this in any way. When that dude gets his throat sliced, like I was like, oh shit! Like it hit me. Like it was effective. You know, it was just really well done. I can't say enough about this. I'm definitely going to be looking at some more StarKid things as time goes on, and I'm glad that you found a way to sort of
Shoehorn
wedge
it in.
this, just sort of wedge this into our show's history here.
Yeah, because I've been trying to tell you to watch The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals for more than a year, and then you're like, "Do you want to do a Black Friday show?" I was like, "Yes, about Black Friday. Yes, I do. Yes, because I knew that you were going to at least somewhat like it."
Can we also do a bonus episode, Michelle, about the Megadeth song Black Friday?
Sure, I will have to listen to it first because I don't know.
I'm gonna just put like a 7-second clip in here right now. Did you like that? It's pretty good,
back.
Right?
Wow, that I sure like that music. Speaking of music, if you had to pick one person just from their stage presence from this production, who do you think wrote all the music?
Oh,
I just want to know who looks like they wrote all this music.
Who wrote this?
The music in particular, because basically all the stage parts are written by Nick and Matt Lang. They are brothers, and they've done
music and lyrics by
music,
that. And I remember seeing
the.
Is it the person who played the crazy wispy-haired, big glasses dude who tries to buy all the Wigglies?
No, that's Jamie Lynn Beatty, but I love that. I was just curious who you would pick. Jeff Blim, a.k.a. the Colonel, wrote all this music.
The Colonel? Are you serious?
He is chaotic. So he joined StarKid with the Twisted musical, which is Aladdin but Wicked, where Jafar is played by Dylan Saunders. The main Tim or Tom or Ted, the dad from this one, is Jafar in that musical. And Jeff Blim is a shirtless Aladdin who is just an asshole, and like and Jafar's like, guys, come on, he's such a dick. And they're like, no, he's not. He's just arrogant and chaotic. And now he just does all their music. And I'm so happy about it because, oh my God, adding Jeff Blim, like, brought their stuff to a new level. Like everything in here, even there's a couple times where I'm like, is this song even necessary? I like the song. I just wish that we were doing something else. So even when I'm like, I wish this wasn't here and I was seeing something else, I'm like, God, it's a banger though. Like I just love everything he writes music wise. I just wish it could like cut a half hour out of this or give me like more horror stuff.
And
that's like my only complaint about this musical.
I'm really like it's very clear that literally everybody involved here was fully committed, right? Like I imagine this is a group of people who have all been working together for a while. And it's I don't know really what else to say about it except that I really enjoyed it, and it makes me want to see more of the things they have done. Also, I'm not gonna lie, even though I really do, and this is just obviously not a horror thing, but just I really wish there were more really well orchestrated and planned filmed productions or filmed versions of live theater productions, because I think when you do it well, it's a really interesting and unique experience, and it's a lot of fun. but at the same time, there was a part of me about 2/3 of the way through this that was just like, I'd like to see this as just like a straight full production horror comedy movie, right? Like take this same idea, but make like a maybe I don't know if you could keep the songs or not, but just this basic story. I like this story, right? Like this is a good story. This Tickle Me Elmo being possessed by an eldritch horror from another dimension.
I knew you would like the
I
Lovecraft
loved
part.
it. I loved it.
Yeah.
You
Um,
you you put Cthulhu face tentacles on anything, and I'm gonna show up for it.
so speaking of people who have worked together for a long time, there's what I would consider like the OG StarKid people. There are several of them. Lauren Lopez, aka the Rich Lady, has been there since the beginning. Joey Richter, now her husband, the guy who played the evil devil guy. I forgot what they called him. Wiley, Dr. Wiley. Does he have a PhD? I don't remember. Jamie Lynn Beatty is the one who you thought wrote the music. And she's been there. She was Ginny Weasley in the original stuff. And then Dylan Saunders, aka the main father guy, was Dumbledore in the
Tom.
original. Yeah, Tom, thank you. And then I kind of consider this like the Avengers, where now we're in phase two, and these are the newer people. And I really
Listen
just
to
wanted
you.
I really just wanted to mention this because I have to tell you the name of one of the people from what I consider phase two of StarKid because he has the coolest name ever, and his name is Kurt Mega. Is that not the best name you've ever heard in your whole life?
Well,
He's also
no,
married to the redhead from this, who is
Kim
in love
Whalen.
with Tom. Yeah, Kim Whalen. He's married to her, and so when he says the line, "She used to be a lot hotter" or something like that, he's saying that about his actual wife, and that's hilarious.
That's pretty.
Oh
Kurt
man,
Mega is a good name. It is not
it's
remotely the
such a
best name
good.
I've ever heard, but it's a good name.
It's really high up there. It's
Well, the
really high up there.
the greatest name I've ever heard is and will always be Dick Buttkiss.
Okay, but imagine that he marries Kurt, and then we have Kurt Mega Butt Kiss.
Mega Buttkiss. Oh God.
Mega Butt Kiss. Yeah, see? There's an
I'm
improvement for both of them. They can
I'm
have
with
Butt
it.
Kiss Mega
It's
for the other
good.
person.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Oh
It's
man.
good.
I'm so glad that I have finally shown you that I'm right and that you need to. I honestly, tomorrow, I don't work tomorrow. I will be rewatching The Guy Who Didn't
Michelle,
Like Musicals for the
Michelle,
umpteenth time.
this is the even better part about this is earlier in the episode you mentioned that you've been trying to get me to watch The Guy Who Doesn't Like Musicals for like a year.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember you once mentioning it to me. I'm not saying I believe you did. I
Oh, I
absolutely
know.
believe you did.
And I
But
believe that you believe I
I,
did because I
I,
absolutely
I have, I have no memory whatsoever of you ever saying anything about something called The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, and I'm so sorry. But
I
I will
am sure that
definitely
it
be.
was
I
it
will
was one of
definitely be
like my
checking it out
3 a.m.
now.
thoughts where I messaged you at 3 a.m. and I was
Oh,
listening to the
okay.
soundtrack again and I'm like, oh my God, JD, you need to watch this. And you're like,
That's
okay, I
fair.
never thought about it again. But I just mention it randomly because oh my God, like it is one of the best theatrical productions I've ever seen. Obviously, you can't compare it to like Broadway because like their budget is insane. But as far as like what these people as just a small talented group of people is able to do,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. Even when I don't
Oh,
love their stuff, I love their energy so
I almost
much.
forgot the one thing that I really specifically said to myself. That's something I want to mention. What I really loved was the musical within a musical when when because the way they do it
Santa?
is great. Yeah, what the way they do it because like there's the act break and you come in from act two and they just start act two in that other musical and for a minute I was like what the fuck is happening right now? Is this going to be like an anthology type show where each act is kind of its own self-contained thing? But then the way they transitioned out, I thought that was really solid. And again, just a next level of like real quality in the writing and the production that they transitioned from the one to the other so smoothly. I really liked that.
I think that they also benefit from it being an original production,
Oh, for
in
sure.
that they can do whatever they want. They can
But
get on stage and realize, like, this improv line is hilarious, and you can't do
mhm,
that if you buy the rights to do a play. You can't add, you can
right,
subtract, kind of. There's a little bit of freedom, but they could get out there and then be like, "Oh, this thing we just said is really funny," or, "Hey, this blocking makes a lot more sense if you enter from stage left instead of stage
right.
right."
Well,
They
and
can adjust it and give you the best stuff.
that's why I also say, like I have to believe, right, that the people they went into this knowing they were going to produce it for YouTube because they had been doing this for a
Yeah.
while,
Yeah.
and I have to believe that the people who did the actual filming and production were involved from minute one, right, so that they could be right in there with the. Because here's the other thing about it. This is very clearly a multi-camera shoot, and you never see a cameraman on screen. Like, not once. They
Do you
like
want
you
to
get
know the
some.
trick?
Yes, Michelle, tell me the
I
trick.
Oh,
You record multiple shows and edit them together. Yeah, I know.
okay. I was just curious if you
I'm
knew.
not. I mean, I'm not dumb, Michelle.
But
But
maybe it's something that you're like, "Oh, I never even thought about that." Because I think, like, people unlike us who have, like, some theatrical experience and some
right.
video experience, like, that kinda thing, they might not know, like,
Oh,
oh, you
sure.
just
Yeah.
do them and then you do the best take, and then you do a couple filler shots, like, so that
Right.
you don't see the camera. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. But I also I like that they this is also, like I said, it's unashamedly a theater production. You clearly know something is going on when or that there's some kind of at least built-in fan base here, because they switch to shots of things going on, and you can see a few members of the audience and
Mhm.
several of them prominently wearing StarKid Productions T-shirts
I
and
know.
whatnot.
Like wearing a
So
band's T-shirt to the concert. You're not
right,
supposed to
don't be
do that,
that
I've
guy.
learned.
Don't be that
I'm
guy.
that guy. I learned the
Have you
hard
ever
way.
has nobody seen PCU? Come on. You're gonna
No, but I
wear
just found out I have that DVD. I've never seen PCU. I found out yesterday I
You're not
own a
missing
DVD of
anything.
PCU and I'd never even heard of it.
You're
So
not
that's
missing
hilarious.
anything at all except
The
John
universe is a
Favreau
multi
with like
or
weird dreadlock, like 90s stoner scumbag dreadlocks is
well,
just
you're proving that I am in a simulation, and that's why somebody's gonna mention PCU to me tomorrow. I'm gonna be like, "Yep, we're all inside a computer. None of this matters." Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I do
Michelle.
love that you see the audience a lot. They do remind you this is a stage
Oh, sure.
production
Yeah.
and they don't cut them out. I love that. There's one lady who just looks horrified in the background every time
Yeah.
they show her, and
It's
she's
like,
my
"Oh my god."
favorite. I
Oh.
don't know if she's enjoying it and kind of scared, or if she does not like it at all, and I hope I never find out. I do like the like, what is this lady's thought process? Like, she kept me really engaged every time they
I
touch
wonder if
her.
maybe it wasn't a simple matter of she never stopped to consider that even if she didn't know the cameras were there, and obviously everybody has to be made aware that they're going to be recorded, right? So she maybe what she didn't know is that they were going to put a spotlight right on her, clearly making her be on camera as well, because why would they spotlight something in the show if they're not taping it to be on the show? And she was just like, oh my
True.
god, I'm gonna be on the show. And she really was. Some people don't like to be on camera, is my point.
I hope that she did not know she was going to a horror comedy musical. She thought
That
this was
would be
going to be like
kind
an
of funny.
improv show. And then
Yeah.
she's like, "What the fuck? Why is this doll? Why is there a cult around this doll? Who is the guy with the extreme what is it? The comb over? Why does he want
With the
8500 of these things?"
oh well, he tells you, and it's no.
Sherman.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Sherman. Yeah. One for the bath. I'll tickle him and he'll tickle me. Oh man. Great. I'm thrilled. I tried not to fangirl too hard, but I did want to make it for people who might tune in because they know a little bit of StarKid, give them some
Oh
history that
sure.
they might not know. Just I'll educate them. I could
No,
talk
I
so
don't have a
much
problem
about
with it at
them.
all.
Oh,
This
love
absolutely
them.
qualifies as horror comedy, for sure.
Yes, it's
Uh,
so funny.
I think more than anything, I think what made me think, oh, I would love to see this as a full production film, is that sequence when they're in the black and white and Wiggly appears. Like
Mhm.
that was so simple, what they did with some garland decoration and a couple of spotlights. But it also made me think, like, man, if you could replicate this in a cinematic way so that, like, obviously there's a little bit more going on and it's a little bit more layered and nuanced, but still keeping that same vibe of never actually really seeing more than just the bright eyes and the tentacle face. Fuck, that would be so cool.
Yeah. Give these people way more money. Let
Yeah.
them do whatever they want.
Well, clearly people have,
Whatever
like I
they
said,
want.
they their Kickstarter asked for $150,000. They got $550,000. That's almost 4 times as much as they asked for, Michelle. That's pretty goddamn impressive.
I know. I need them to have more money, though.
Meanwhile,
money.
we can't get somebody to pay $20 to cover the server bill every month.
Server bill. Server bill.
Whatever.
Oh, for the website?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what we're talking about. I thought you meant like in a restaurant. I got very confused. Okay, I gotcha.
Oh, all right. Well,
It's been
this
a
needs
long
to
day.
go up.
Okay.
It's literally less than a
Black
minute
Friday.
until actual Black Friday, guys. We watched this. It's on Thanksgiving, so like I took 2.5 hours, now 3.5 hours away from my family on Thanksgiving to
Yeah,
bring this
great
episode
choice.
to you on Black
That's the
Friday.
best way.
And it is now officially Black Friday, so I don't think there's anything else to do but say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media, your home for all of today's Rat Factoryist podcasts. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests of We Watch Shudder are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Rat Factory Media. But wait, aren't Rat Factory Media and We Watch Shudder the same people? Shut your cake hole, Charlie. Nobody asked you. We Watch Shudder is available free on all major podcast platforms, and the easiest way to support We Watch Shudder is also free. Just leave a rating and review on your platform of choice. Merge your consciousness with ours on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're at We Watch Shudder on all those social media platforms. Or find us the old-fashioned way, on the web at wewatchshudder.com or by email at mail@wewatchshudder.com. Heck, you can even leave us a voicemail at 701-566-9510. No, seriously, 701-566-9510. Try it if you dare.